All right, good evening. I'm running a little bit behind this evening. My apologies. I was running into some technical difficulties. But I am here and we are ready to have a very quick show. We're going to talk about something that's very near and dear to me, which is Medicaid expansion. It is, what kind of alerts going off on my phone here? Got us a little music going on. Marvin Gaye, what's going on? I got the plan because I really want to know what is going on around here. What are we going to do to make things better? How are we going to improve our state? There's so much work to do, and we just got to get it done. And like I said, I'm very passionate about Medicaid expansion. That's why I'm bringing this important topic to you this evening because this is so important to me. It was a huge part of my platform. And there are a lot of questions that are going around about Medicaid expansion and our gubernatorial race. And so I'm just giving people just a minute to get in here. We're going to dive into this really quickly. Not going to keep y'all very long. I know people are tired. It's a Monday evening and people want to kick back and relax. But this is something that's very important. I think we really need to have a conversation about it. And hey, look, please weigh in. Please drop comments down there if you got questions or concerns or different things, because this is a platform for me to listen to you guys. I want to listen to you guys more than me doing so much talking. Hey there, Miss Briley. Thank you so much for tuning in, my bonus mom from Columbus, Ohio. I appreciate you and all that you do. So grateful for you. Hope everything is going well your way. All right, so we're going to go ahead on and jump on into this. We have a few people tuned in. Like I say, I welcome all of your questions, all of your feedback, and whatever it is you want to say, feel free to say it. All right, so we are going to talk about Medicaid expansion here in the state of Mississippi. Mississippi is one of 10 states that have not expanded Medicaid. So we'll talk a little bit about Medicaid expansion. So in Medicaid expansion, what we say, all right, here on my dad. Hey there, Dad, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in. We're talking about Medicaid expansion. So Mississippi is one of 10 states that has not expanded Medicaid. And let me kind of explain to you how we got to where we are. Let me put my phone on silent so it won't be going on. So let me explain to you how we got to where we are. Well, back in 2000, I can't think of what year it was when we got affordable health care through the Barack Obama administration. It was universal health care to every single person. What happened is after this happened, there were lawsuits in the Supreme Court ruling that the affordable health care plan was unconstitutional. And so what the Supreme Court said is they said, well, what we will allow is we will allow the states to decide individually if they're going to accept Medicaid expansion or not. Well, guess what? Mississippi is one of the states that said, you know what, we are not going to accept Medicaid expansion. And it's important that we say expansion. When we talk about Medicaid, it's important that we say expansion. And the reason that expansion is the key word is because guess what? We already receive federal dollars from Medicaid. We're only asking that Mississippi receives additional federal funding to ensure that our poor working class people can receive Medicaid. And when I say poor working class, what happens is either right now, you have a job and you have benefits and you don't have to worry about health care, or you're on Medicaid because you don't have income. But for people that are working jobs where they don't get health care benefits or working low-wage jobs, this is not going to benefit them because they can't afford private insurance. The employer doesn't provide benefits. So what are they to do? And so we commonly hear our governor refer to Medicaid expansion as welfare, and it's absolutely not welfare. Medicaid expansion, we're estimating about 220 to 300,000 additional Mississippians that will qualify for Medicaid if we were to expand it. And so what we're seeing right now is we're seeing hospitals closing their doors because Medicaid has not been expanded. We see a health crisis in the Mississippi Delta because of the lack of Medicaid expansion. And I want to just quote our governor, Tate Reeves, real quickly in an article. This was an Associated Press article. He said, our nation is struggling, particularly in rural areas with healthcare. And I want everyone to know that I am committed to addressing the problem. Now, that was a statement that came directly from our governor. And so our governor says he understands that there's a problem with healthcare in rural areas. Our governor also says that he's committed to addressing the problem. Well, this is my take on that. So you've been governor for 4 years, lieutenant governor for 8 years prior. So that's 9, 10, that's 12 years that you have been a governor and lieutenant governor. Prior to that, you were 8 years as a state treasurer. So my question is, or I'm not going to say my question, but my statement is, okay, you're saying that you understand we have a problem. Now you are one man that can solve this problem, and you say that you're wanting to address it. So why has it not been addressed before now? And now this is not something that happened overnight. It's not like, we all woke up one morning and people didn't have health care. This has been something that's been going on for a very long time. I remember back in 2003, we were fighting for affordable health care here in Mississippi, and it did not happen then. So what I'm saying is, what is your plan? Why did it take all of this time for you to come up with the plan? And where do we go moving forward? Well, let me talk about Brandon Presley for a moment. Brandon Presley is a Democratic nominee for governor in the state of Mississippi. He's currently public service commissioner for a northern district. The thing that about Brandon Presley is I've watched him since he announced he was running for office. When he announced he was running for office, he did it. His commercial was in a hospital that had closed down. So he sat at this closed hospital. Let me turn his Facebook off. I'm sorry, y'all. So he sat in this hospital that was closed down, and he told people that he spoke of the crisis that we're having with them. I think this was back in January. He spoke about the crisis, the Medicaid crisis. He vowed to us on that day that if you make me your governor, that as soon as I take my hand off of the Bible on inauguration day, I'm going to sign an executive order to expand Medicaid in the state of Mississippi. He said that from day one. And every single time I've heard him spoke, he has said the exact same thing. Now I'm going somewhere with this, so stay here with me. So that has been Brandon Presley's campaign. He's always said it. He's never shied away from it. He has always said, I'm going to expand Medicaid. Now, our current governor has said over the years that I'm not going to expand Medicaid. I refuse to expand Medicaid. I'm not going to do it for whatever reason. I'm not going to do it. But now all of a sudden, now he is talking about the health crisis and ways to solve it and things that will be done, to get this healthcare crisis solved. So about a month and a half ago, Governor Reeves had a press conference. And in that press conference, he says, I have a solution to our problem. So he presented his solution. Well, some of his solution, because I still haven't really got clarity on to what all the pieces are that are entailed within that solution. But ultimately, he wants to, I think, increase the reimbursement rate that Medicaid is paying the hospital. So when you see a patient that's, has Medicaid, the hospital will get reimbursed, more money than traditionally what they are being reimbursed. So that was his plan. And after hearing about the plan, I said, hey, this does not give our people Medicaid expansion. This is not talking about adding people to our Medicaid roster. How is that helping Mississippi? The only entity that would help ultimately would be the hospitals. And it's not really going to go too far with the hospitals, because hospitals still are going to have to treat patients that don't have any insurance, nor do they have Medicaid. And so going a little bit further, the Democrats have fought tirelessly to get Medicaid expanded. We've done every single thing we possibly could think of to get Medicaid expanded. This has been something that we've been vocal about for I don't know how long. And I want to share something with you guys. And I have not, seen this shared anywhere. I haven't heard people talk about this. But if you look at this slide here, all right, so this right here, I'm going to blow it up on my screen so I can see it. So what we're looking at right now, this is a House bill. So this is a bill that that went through the House of Representatives right here in Mississippi. And if we look at this bill was introduced, the day this bill was introduced on January the 4th of 2023. So just to put things into perspective, our legislative session started on January the 3rd. So the first day, the second day in session, our Democrat representatives, which is Representative Hines, Johnson, and Anthony, those are the authors of this bill. Well, they introduced this bill, And what this bill, I'm going to read it to you. This bill provides an increased rate of Medicaid reimbursement for patient and outpatient hospital services for hospitals that are located in a county that had an average monthly unemployment rate of 8% or higher for the 12 months of the previous state fiscal year and has a critical shortage of physicians and nurses and for related purposes. This bill was introduced. It went to the House committees, it went to the Medicaid and Appropriations Committee. So it sat there in committee until January 31st, and then it died. So I'm going to just kind of walk you through the process of how bills become laws in Mississippi. So what happens in Mississippi, I'm going to go down this. I'll post this on my page later so you can kind of go back and review it if you want to. But what happens is when we come up with a bill that we want this bill to be a law, what we do is we introduce it. So we introduce it in the House on the House floor, and after we introduce it, it goes to committees. And so the second step is this bill has to go to the committees, which in this case you can see it went to the appropriations and it went to the appropriations and the Medicaid committee so that they could hash it out, talk about it, and figure out if it's going to come back to the floor for a vote. Well, this bill died. It didn't even come back to the floor. So this is what I want to know. So in looking at this bill, which is a bill that was authored by Democrats in the House, now hearing our current governor say that this is what he wants to do. So my question is, why wasn't the charge taken to get this out of committee so that it could go to the floor for a vote in the House, in the Senate, and to the governor's desk? Or furthermore, if the governor felt that our Republican-controlled House and Republican-controlled Senate would not, push this, why didn't our governor at the time say, I'm going to sign an executive order to get it done? So what I want to know is, if Tate Reeves is reelected, what is he going to do to ensure that this measure passes? Now, what I will say about this measure, this is not a measure that is going to help with our crisis as far as getting more people on Medicaid. And the only reason our Democrat delegation did this is because, like I said, we're fighting. We're trying to do whatever we can to get some sort of relief for our hospitals. And so, we always talk about there's give and take in politics. This is an example of compromise. This is us as a last plea saying, hey, please give us this, because this would at least keep the hospitals open. So it's not a long-term solution, but it's something to get the conversation started. And as you see right here, it was not even entertained. But now all of a sudden, our governor is saying that, he will entertain this. So I want to know, from our governor, what is going to be done. And ultimately, our best solution is to go out and vote for Brandon Presley, which will give us Medicaid expansion. With Medicaid expansion, it's going to do a lot of things other than just give health, provide health care. Some of the benefits of Medicaid expansion is, I'm just looking right here, it's going to give jobs. So a lot of nurses and physicians that are going to come to our state will come to our state. They will have jobs, because right now, we have hospitals that are understaffed because hospitals just don't really have it within their budget to pay the nurses and doctors. So this is going to help our economy here in the state of Mississippi, because this will now, just so I'm transparent, we're going to be getting federal money, but it still will be some portion of this will have to be paid by the state of Mississippi. But we're creating more jobs. We're going to be getting more taxes. So the little bit that we will have to pay as a state is going to be covered by the booming economy. Because right now we're on life support with our hospitals. We have 1/3 of our hospitals right now threatening closure if something is not done. Now, also with Tate Reeves' proposal, that's going to add about $693 million. I think 600 something million dollars is what it would add. But even with that $600 million, that's just a drop in the bucket. That still is not enough to save our hospitals. And ultimately, with Tate Reeves' plan, it's only going to save the hospitals. That's not going to give people that don't have Medicaid. So we have to make sure that our people that don't have Medicaid get Medicaid, because if that happens, it'll be a trickle-down effect. More people will have health coverage. We're going to have more jobs coming into the state for healthcare workers. Our hospitals are going to be able to keep their doors open, and we're going to be able to have a healthier Mississippi. When we look at the statistics and we see that Mississippi is one of the most unhealthiest states, we have to say, why is it the most unhealthiest state? It's the most unhealthiest state because we don't have adequate health care here in Mississippi. People can't afford to go to the doctor. And that has to stop. We're not going to get any healthier until we make sure that every single Mississippian has health care coverage. And there is a way to get it done. It's not rocket science. I mean, the plan is already laid out there. Expand Medicaid. I mean, this is about the probably the one of the most common sense approaches that we have. As legislators, we have to constantly figure out ways to make things work and figure out where we're going to get money, for this project and that project. When we have the blueprint right here, we have the federal government saying, hey, we got the money, we want to give you the money, but you guys have to receive it. And so we really have to make some changes in Mississippi. And one thing that I'm going to vow to every single one of my constituents is that we are going to get Medicaid expanded, regardless of what the outcome is on November 7th is. Now, electing Brandon Presley is going to make it easier for us. But, if that does not happen, I am still going to fight every single day to get this done. I've spoken with several colleagues that are as passionate as I am about getting this done. And I showed you that House Bill 159 because I want everybody to know that we are fighting for it. We have good representatives there that have been fighting for this, but it goes unnoticed because it doesn't get done. And so I just want people to know that there are people fighting. The fact that this bill was introduced the second day of the legislative session, it lets us know that our representatives are working for us all session to get this measure in place. And so, like I said, I'm not going to keep you guys long. If anybody have any comments, concerns, questions, ideals, whatever it is you want to drop down there, feel free to drop it down. I'm gonna hang out a little while longer. You do know we have a political forum coming up on Wednesday evening at 8:00. Is it 8:00? Yes, 8:00. It's going to be right after the gubernatorial. I'll get tongue tied. But it's going to be after the governor's debate, which is going to be on 16 WAPT at 7:00, 7 to 8 o'clock. So we're going to hear from several candidates. And I've invited every single candidate. It doesn't matter, political party, doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, or Independent. I still invited everybody because I feel that it's important for the voters to be able to hear what every single person's political platform is. It's not up for me to say, hey, you go vote for this person, do that. I'm just bringing a safe space for all candidates to come on and talk about their platform, their campaign issues. Also, it's going to give them a way to answer questions that their constituents may have, because it's important. The one thing that I want to make sure that our voters are informed prior to going to the polls on November 7th. It's time out that, we go to the polls and we vote for a popular candidate because they have a popular name or they're an incumbent. We need to really be vetting our candidates and making sure that our candidates' beliefs are, in line with ours, because that's the only way we're going to get things done is by putting quality people in office. One person can't do it alone. Tracy, when and where? Okay, so Tracy, this political forum is going to be Wednesday evening at 8:00 p.m. It's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be streamed live here on Facebook, so you can come back to my page and just like you did this live, and it'll be on here. So all of the candidates are going to be coming on. And, I've spoken with every single person participating. I told them it's not going to be any mudslinging. I'm not going to allow you to bash your opponent and talk bad about your opponent. I'm not going to allow candidates to come on at the same time together. We're going to do it one at a time, because this is not that type of platform. This platform is all about you coming and talking about why you're running for office and what you can do for the voters. Because the thing is, bashing your opponent, no, that's not going to fly here. It's not any, we don't have time for that, because there's so much mess. There's so much mudslinging going on right now. I'm personally fed up with it. I'm tired of it. And so I told all the candidates that, hey, you're going to come on here. You're going to tell us why we should get out and vote for you. And if you come on here with mudslinging and talking about your opponent, you're going to get dismissed off of this show. There was a point in time where as people, we could support whatever candidate we wanted to support and still be friends at the end of the day. But now it's gotten to the point where if you don't vote for my person or you don't agree with my person, then we can't be friends. We have to get away from that. What we have to realize is we're all running for office because we want to do things to better our community. And so all this polarizing stuff, it has to stop. When you see people slinging mud, these politicians out here slinging mud, they're slinging mud because they don't have a platform that they can stand solid on. When I ran for office, I didn't have to sling mud because I knew my platform. I knew my messaging. I knew why I wanted to represent people. That's all I talked about, what I'm going to do for the people. And that's what got me across the finish line victorious, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what another person is doing. It doesn't matter what your opponent is doing. You know, your opponent have their own set of beliefs and their own set of views, and that's great. I have my own set of views and my own beliefs. And, you know, apparently mine resonated with people of District 66. And Miss Briley, very informative information. I knew very little about Medicaid. March 2010. Yes, 2010. Reeves had plenty of time to start our Medicaid. Presley, that is it. I am with you 100%, Miss Briley. You know, what you said is so valuable. We have given Tate Reeves 4 years as a governor, 8 years as a lieutenant governor to get things done, and he has not gotten it done. Just a fun fact. As a lieutenant governor, the lieutenant governor is the president of the Senate. He presides over the Senate. And so as lieutenant governor, if he was passionate about healthcare, he could have gotten with those senators and said, hey, we need to get some on the table. Furthermore, fast forwarding, once he became governor, he could have said, you know what, we got to do something to expand Medicaid, but he has not. If you've given somebody 4 years to do a job, why, and they haven't done it, why would you keep that person? I mean, come on. Would you stay married to the same person for 4 years if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing as a spouse? I mean, some people can't stay married 6 months or a year. So that's what we have to start thinking about. We've given you time to get it done, and it's not bashing it. I'm not talking about him. I'm just speaking about the facts. It has not happened. You know, even Tate Reeves, his own economist, has said Medicaid expansion is the thing to do. Why has it not been done yet? I mean, it baffles me. Things like this is what keeps me up at night. I'm up at night trying to say, hey, why are we not expanding Medicaid? You know, why have we not taken federal money to expand Medicaid when we have the most unhealthy state? We have people not underinsured, people are uninsured here in Mississippi. And the states where Medicaid has been expanded, it's actually working for them. You know, we just lost our mental ward here at St. Dominic, right here in Jackson. So the capital city they've lost their whole mental ward, mental health department in Central Mississippi Health Facility, CMMC, Merit Health Central here in South Jackson, which is in my district. You know, all of our services are gone except for the health department, labor and delivery, and I think mental health. And now with labor and delivery, there is no neonatal intensive care unit. So we have a mother that goes up there and she has a baby, and her baby needs to go to the NICU. They have to take her child over to another hospital in Rankin County or another Jackson hospital. So this mother has to be away from her child while her child is in the NICU if she's still over here in the hospital at Merit Health Central. This is in the capital city. So this is happening right here in the most populous city. Imagine what is happening in our Greenwood, Greenville, our rural areas. You know, if it's happening in the capital city, you know that those people up there are really being affected. Thank you so much, Pamela. It's right. It's a difference when you're bashing and when you're speaking facts. That's it. And I tell people all the time, I deal only in facts. And I don't care who said it. You know, if Tate Reeves were a Democrat and this is what he was doing, I would still be speaking about what he's doing because it's not right. Our people are suffering. You know, I had one of my constituents, she's a waitress. And so being a waitress, she doesn't get benefits. Well, she got sick probably about a month ago, and thought that it was a real bad headache, and they thought she had a stroke. Well, she went to the doctor, and when she went to the doctor, she needed an MRI. Well, she didn't have the money. I forgot, I think it was like $1,500 or so that she had to pay to get the MRI. She didn't have the money to get the MRI, so guess what? They did not do it. Because she couldn't afford to get it done. And when I heard that story, I said, okay, so this is a lady, and I know her personally. She's a hard worker. I know her personally. I see how she works. And the fact that she's working, busting her butt every single day, doing the best that she can, and she cannot go and get an MRI to see if she had a stroke or not. Luckily, fast forward, and luckily it wasn't a stroke. She was able to, we got had a GoFundMe. And we had to do a GoFundMe, and she was able to, raise enough money with donations to get it. So thankfully it wasn't a stroke. But this lady works every single day, and our governor says that this is expanding healthcare is welfare. How is it welfare when you have this young lady working every single day, can't get an MRI? And as we all know, with a stroke, time is not your friend. When you have a stroke, you have to start intervening right then and there in order to fully recover from it. So had it been a stroke, it's no telling what could have possibly happened. But with Governor Presley's proposal, she will qualify for Medicaid. And so she would have health care. That's why we have to get it done. I'm gonna tell you something else that Tate Reeves said. It was at Hobnob, where a lot of political candidates get to go and give their stump speeches. Well, at the end, Ross Adams from WAPT, and it's a video of this, I can share it as well. He went up and they were asking Tate Reeves questions, and he asked Tate Reeves about expanding Medicaid. Tate Reeves said, and I'm going to put the video, but he ultimately said, I'm going to kind of paraphrase it a little bit, but what he said is that he is more concerned with bringing higher end jobs to Mississippi, economic development to Mississippi. He said, because what happens when we bring better jobs to Mississippi, people that are working at the McDonald's or the Kroger's that don't get benefits, he said when he brings better jobs, they won't need Medicaid expansion because they'll get benefits. Okay, so as you know, economic development I'm passionate about because it was part of my platform, my campaign platform. So most definitely, we need economic development. We need better jobs. But guess what, Tate Reeves? Guess what? McDonald's is not going anywhere. Kroger isn't going anywhere. We still are going to have people that are working these jobs. So they need benefits. They need health care. Why can't we do both? In my platform, we're going to do both. We're going to expand Medicaid, and we're also going to bring economic development and bring better jobs here. And so what that says that Tate Reeves is not for all Mississippians. I mean, that's just me on the outside looking out, because he's saying, well, I'm going to get better jobs so that we don't need Medicaid expansion. So the people at McDonald's, we don't have to worry about expanding healthcare for them, so they won't have their healthcare. But what he's saying is ultimately they'll be able to get away from those jobs and get into higher paying jobs. Well, we just have to stop for a minute and think. There are some people that I don't care how many jobs you bring to Mississippi, better paying jobs you bring to Mississippi. I don't care how many of those we bring. Some people just will never have the skill set to be able to work at these places. And I'm just being 100% honest. Everybody is not going to be able to go there. And so the people that won't be able to go and work at these higher end phantom jobs that you're talking about bringing here, they're not going to get health care. So what are we going to do? Why are we going to leave people behind? And another thing that Brandon Presley said, and he ever since day one, is that I am for every single Mississippian. Let that sink in. I'm for every single Mississippian. That's what we have to do. That's what we're elected to do. We're there. We're elected to be to represent every single person. I don't care if you're a janitor, custodian, McDonald's, fast food. I don't care what it is, what walk of life you come from. You are just as good as the next person. Actually, when we have people that are lower income earners, they need us more than people that are higher income earners. How do we find a way to bring people up, to raise people up, to give people a chance, to give people the benefits? When we talk about people not voting, that's why people don't vote. They say, I don't have a reason to vote. When we look at higher income earners, that typically you're going to see a demographic that is more likely to be politically engaged or politically involved because they see the benefit, because they have politicians that are passing legislation that benefits them. And so we need to start from the bottom and represent every single person. That's what it's all about. It's all about serving people. Get out. Yes, Pamela, you're right. Get out and vote, people. When we looked at Mississippi, we're in the Bible Belt. We're a Bible Belt. We're Christians. We love the Lord and we love our neighbor. But when we look at Jesus, we didn't see Jesus whining and dining with the kings and entertaining the kings. We saw Jesus out there with the poor, helping the poor. We saw Jesus out there helping the sick. And by no means am I trying to say the politicians are Jesus. So no, please don't think that. But I'm saying that we're Christians. So since we're Christians, why are we not out there trying to help the sick, trying to help the poor, trying to help people better, with a better life? That's what we have to do. That's what we have to get, back to in order, in order to make things better. That's what I'm, that's the people that I'm concerned with. I was telling people about probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I went to an event, and it was an employee appreciation, and we had several elected officials there, politicians, and people there, and people sitting at tables they want to sit at. Well, I didn't sit at the table with them. I sit at the table with the employees. And I'm like, come on over here. I said, no, I want to sit right here because I want to talk to them. I want to figure out what's going on. What is it that you need? What can we do to make your life better? You need to have a voice, because when you think about it, these big organizations, they have some have lobbyists, some have direct connections with with lawmakers, but it's our people, our employees that don't really have that intimate relationship with lawmakers. And I want to change that. I want to listen to every single person, because at the end of the day, I represent people. I want people to have a better quality, better quality of life. That's why I ran for office. That's why I get up every single day, is to figure out what it is we need to do. And once we start doing that and people start seeing that there's somebody out here that cares about them, people will start back to vote again. They'll see the importance and they'll see the value in voting. Yeah, we can't continue just being for ourselves. We've got to love one another, enough to care about their well-being. You know what, Pam? That's right. We got to start back caring about each other. That's the only way that that's the only way that we're going to grow. That's the only way that we're going to get, to where we need to be. And so, to sum it all up, once again, people, please make sure that you are vetting your candidates properly before going to cast your vote. Ask questions. Tune in Wednesday evening. We're going to have several candidates, like I said, Democrat and Republican candidates. Tune in, inbox me, email me questions that you have for any of the candidates, because it's going to be your night to be right there in front of the candidates, because we need to start asking questions to these people that we are electing. Some people out there right now that running for office, and we don't even know what their platform is. I want to know what your platform is. That's all I care about. What's your platform? What's your platform? What have you done for your community? What do you plan to do for your community once you're elected? Because the person that can sling the most mud, that does not impress me. Person that can talk about their opponent the most, that doesn't impress me. If you want to talk about your opponent, you need to go to Jerry Springer show. Jerry Springer is not on air anymore. You need to go find a show somewhere you can go and talk about them somewhere else. We don't have room for that in politics anymore. Right now, we need people that's going to come in and serve their community, serve their constituents. Politics in Hinds County in the state of Mississippi has been like a talk show for far too long. It's been like a talk show or a soap opera. We need to get back to where we're actually up there representing our people, and we're doing what we need to do for our people, and not up here with all this foolishness. Appreciate. That's why I'm a servant. God bless me to be a blessing. That's what I do. Yes, opinions. That's it. That is it. Ms. Riley, you said a mouthful. That's it. We need public servants. I was a lot when I first started running for office, I was telling people, I hated to use the word, politician, because politician, that word has become so eroded. It has, it's become so eroded over the years. And like, I want to use it, but yes, I am a politician. And the thing is, I'm going to bring integrity back to that word, because there's integrity that goes with it. And I'm going to bring it back to the word. I'm a politician. I'm proud to be a politician. We have to, change the narrative and show people that, we care. We care. Lord, if they all, half of them had a heart like what the state of Mississippi, like, all right, that's right, Pam. You said a mouthful with that. That is it. That is it. We have to have people, with a heart for serving people. We have to have people that's going to go to where others have not gone. Um, when I was on the campaign trail, people told me I was crazy because when I was campaigning, I even went to the nightclubs. I went to several clubs when I was campaigning. And people said, "Why are you going to a club to campaign?" I say, "Hey, I'm going there because I want to meet people where they are." And then going to these clubs, I got several young people registered to vote. I had my voter registration paperwork when I went to the clubs. And I'll be at the club and people dancing, having a good time, and the music could stop, and I get up there talking. I know they don't want to hear me talking, but I told them why it was important to get out and vote. And I love voter registration applications. I got so many young people registered to vote. You have to meet people where they are. You can't tell people, "Hey, come meet me," because that's what I see happen so often. Our politicians, I want to be available for people. I want to have an open door policy where people can come to me. Well, I have an open door policy where people can come to me, but guess what? I go to people. I'm still out in the community going to people. That's what we have to do. That's it, Miss Bradley. That's it. You'll be surprised. Voters were in the club. That's it. There were so many people, and even I laugh because even to this day, I run across people say, Fabian, I saw you at club so and so. I like, oh my goodness, when you were out campaigning, I said, that's it. I was every single place. I left not one single stone unturned because people are people. You have to meet people where they are. And I say, if I can't catch people at church, I'm going to catch them at the club. That's what I did. We have to meet people, where they are, and that's what it's all about. Let's see. I always want to help people, but I never knew which way to go. So I got into daycare so I could teach the future, and it won't stop. That's it, Pam. And you know what? I had the pleasure of coming to your daycare. I'm gonna tell you, those children love them some Miss Pam, and Miss Pam love herself some children. And Pam, you're gonna have to bring your babies up to the Capitol for a tour. I want to definitely get them up to the Capitol so that they can come see the Capitol. And what you're doing at your daycare, that is impacting, it's making a huge impact on the lives of our children. Our children are very impressionable, and they watch what we as adults do. And when we have a strong foundation for our children, and especially at the critical age that they're at right now, that's going to shape the type of adults that our children become. And so, Pam, you made a very good point, because a lot of people say, "I want to help, but I don't know how I can help." You don't necessarily have to be a politician to help. You're doing something that's huge. People tell me all the time, our community people, our community our community our people that are working in our community, they always tell me, "Fabian, thank you so much." And I always tell them, "Don't thank me. Let me thank you. You are doing the hard work." For me to come in for a day and maybe speak to your organization or try to help your organization get the resources that you need, that's the easy part. But the fact that you're taking your time to pour into these children every single day, you're the true hero. And so there's so many ways that we can impact our community. It's not about running for political office, mentoring our children. One thing I try to do is each week I try to find a school I can go to and do something at the school. All can do that. We can all go to the school. We can donate things to the school. Reach out to our school, say, "Hey, what can we do to help?" Because every little thing, well, I'm not gonna say little, but everything we do, it may sound small to us, but I guarantee you it's huge to others, because it's more than what others are doing. And so Pam, yeah, that's absolutely great. It's been 40, it's been over 42 years, and I love to bring them. That's it. Yeah, definitely. We can talk and figure out the logistics, and get them, definitely get them up there so they can tour the Capitol. A lot of Mississippians have not ever visited our state capitol. I feel like that's important, that people come to see where the laws are made that are impacting our lives. And so I welcome everybody to the Capitol. I'll help set up a tour of the Capitol. If I'm available, I'll be there with you. Miss Mary Briley came to the Capitol a few weeks ago. Her and a few of her friends came up and got to tour the Capitol. We had an amazing time up there touring the Capitol. And so definitely, that's it. That's all I have. Anybody got any comments or concerns, anything before I log off of here, please, drop them down. Please, if you can, tune in to our political forum on Wednesday evening. That's going to be very informative. Also, check out the gubernatorial debate. That's going to be an actual debate. It's going to be on WAPT, and it's going to be on Wednesday, November the 1st at 7 o'clock p.m. It's going to be Governor Tate Reeves and Democrat nominee Brandon Presley debating. And so please make sure you tune in. And I talked to them about voting and what it entails, and believe it or not, they were very interested. I've never been to the Capitol. Wow, that's great that you talked to them about voting. I know children, they're just like sponges. They're going to take it all in. Okay, so Pam, you never been to the Capitol either. Okay, wow. So it'll be your first time to the Capitol with them. We definitely, we're going to definitely have to get together so that you can bring your babies up there to the Capitol and let them see, where laws are made. Yeah, I can't wait to see the debate either. I'm gonna give y'all another quick story before I get off of here. And when I was in fourth grade, you guys may have heard this story. When I was in fourth grade, we went to the state capitol for a tour, and I was amazed about being able to actually go to the Capitol. I read about it, seen it on TV, and I never will forget. We were in the gallery because you can go to the gallery. The Senate and the House of Representatives both have galleries, and we were standing in the gallery, and they were in session. And I remember looking over the gallery, and I saw all the guys sitting down there in the chairs, conducting the business of the state. And I looked, my friend that was my classmate that was standing right next to me, I looked at him. I said, one of these days, I'm gonna be sitting down there in one of those chairs. And my friend looked at me, he just shook it, he just laughed, like, oh, whatever, Fabian, that'll never happen. I said, one of these days, I'm going to be, and it was a House of Representatives. I clearly remember it. I said, one of these days, I'm going to be sitting down there on that floor in one of these chairs. And that day has come. And I'm so excited, about that. I'm, going back when I was in junior college, I had to write an essay on what my life would look like. I think it said, 20 years from now, what do you envision your life in being? And it's ironic because in that paper, and I've been trying to dig it up. And in that paper, I said, 20 years from now, I plan on being a state representative for the state of Mississippi, fighting every single day to change our state. And that was a paper I did in junior college. And, it was not that, I spoke that into existence back when I was in fourth grade. But when it came time when I graduated, this is not something I went through life saying, or aspiration, oh, I'm going to get in the House of Representatives. I'm going to get in the House of Representatives. I never spoke about it again until I was in junior college. And even when I was in junior college and I wrote that paper, I thought back, I said, that was my dream. That's what I wanted to do. I wrote about that paper, and that was several years ago. I came out of junior college in 2009. And so even after that, it's not like I was saying, you know what, I'm running for office. I wasn't still actively, aggressively pursuing it. But I spoke about it. And in January of this year is when it actually happened. That's when I launched my campaign. And so it was a 9-month process. And so I say that to say that, when God tells you something, we don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. And things are not going to happen on our time. They're going to happen on his time. Because like I said, I wasn't out there saying, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be in the House of Representatives. No, he spoke it to me when I was in fourth grade. He spoke it to me again when I was in junior college. And in January, he spoke it to me again. He said, it's time to run for office. And I said, nah, I'm not. I said, it's not time. I said, I'm not ready. A friend called me about running for office that Friday. It was a Friday evening. He said, Fabian, you need to do it. I said, I'm not ready for it. I'm not going to do it. He said, pray about it. And I promise you guys, I wasn't able to sleep that whole weekend and then Monday morning, I was filling out my paperwork to qualify to run for office. And it's like the doors that need to opened, for me. I didn't know the first thing that I need to do to run for office, but it's like the path. He ordered my steps and took me along the trajectory. People thought I was crazy at first. You run for office, don't do it. And I tell people about David and Goliath. And because people are saying, you don't have any political experience, one of your opponents both of your opponents are very well known. One of them has political experience. They're going to run circles around you. I said, well, maybe, so they might, I don't know. I said, but I am going to go after this and I'm going to actively pursue it. And I always talked about David and Goliath. And a funny story is, um, when I went into the runoff, I never will forget. I woke up one Sunday morning as I was visiting churches, and I was going to be visiting Belmont Church with Pastor Tony Chrysler. And that morning when I woke up, God put on my spirit David and Goliath, the story of David and Goliath, because I was like, hey, and I think I was telling you guys, I said, oh my God, I just a runoff. I don't know if I can fathom another month. I don't know if I can make it through a runoff. And so that Sunday I woke up to go to church at Belmont, and God put it on my heart. He said, Fabian, he said, David and Goliath. Think about David and Goliath. And I thought about it. I was at peace. I went to church to Belmont, and when Pastor Chrysler got up to the preacher's sermon, he said, you know what, y'all, the sermon today I'm going to talk about is my text is going to be David and Goliath. I almost shouted when he said that. He said, well, we need to look at, we look at life and we look at our problems, and we need to look at David and Goliath. And it literally took everything in me to keep me from shouting. I said, this is right on time. David and Goliath. And after that, I said, you know what? We got this runoff. I said, we got it. And we ended up pulling out of this runoff with 69% of the vote. And so, it's look, thank you, Pam. Look, I wasn't planning on testifying. I wasn't planning on testifying this evening, but I just felt the need to, really share that story, and hopefully it can be inspiration to somebody. As never let people tell you no. Never let people tell you that, it's not your time. Some people told me, Fabian, it's not your time. You don't need to do it. You need to wait a little while longer. And when God tells you to do something, you got to do it. You can't listen to people. I mean, it was tough out there on the campaign trail. As so much going against me, not getting support, from people. And I was like, wow, what is it? But I didn't need it, because what I had such a strong support system from the people that were around me. Miss Mary Briley, you were a great support. Pamela Brown, but I tell you, you were support. Oh my goodness, y'all, these two ladies right here, y'all were out there. And not only that, I had the support of people that mattered. This is the people of District 66. These are my constituents. My constituents supported me. And I couldn't have done it. I could not have done it with every single person, but it was just, God put me where I needed to be. He gave me every single thing that I needed on the campaign trail. He opened up so many doors. Even right now, there are still so many doors that are being opened. I've been getting calls from, so many different community organizations with, proposed legislation and things that, need to be done to better the lives for people around, for the people around Mississippi. Doors are still open, because I'll talk to everybody. If anybody calls in with, a piece of legislation that they want to be considered, I'm going to listen to them and say, hey, let's talk about it. Let's sit down and figure out what it is, that needs to be done. But I'm just blessed for the relationships, that I've been able to have, and confirmation from the man of God. That's it. That is it. When I tell you that was right on time from Pastor Chrysler. It was right on time. And I didn't talk to him beforehand. Pastor Chris didn't even know that I was coming to service that day. And for the fact, that sermon was just, it was right on time, and there have been times on, on the campaign trail. I was at Salem, Missionary Baptist Church in Terry yesterday. And I was telling them, I said, there were so many times on the campaign trail where I was physically exhausted, mentally exhausted, and spiritually exhausted, because it takes a lot out of you being on the campaign trail, every single day campaigning as hard as I campaigned. I was exhausted, but God always gave me that extra push that I needed. When I needed it, I don't know, it was supernatural energy that, that was given to me. After getting through my runoff election, I went to the doctor, for, routine checkup, and they did routine blood work. And when he did my blood work, he found out that I was my vitamin B12 was very, very low. I was diagnosed with iron deficiency, anemia, B12 anemia, which means I have had really low levels of B12. And doctor, he said, Fabian, what in the world? How are you walking around the way you are and you have a B12 deficiency? He said, this has been going on for quite some time. And I said, I don't know how in the world I made it on the campaign trail with a vitamin B12 deficiency and lack of energy. I said, there was nothing but God that gave me that extra push of energy. So I'm on B12 injections now to get my levels back up to where they need to be. Hey there, Joshua McLean. How you doing, man? So good to see you. And so they're just, like I tell people, it's what God has for you, it is for you. We have to, when we think that things can't be done because our human minds, we can't really see the light at the end of the tunnel at times. But He has you know, God already has our whole life trajectory. He already knows what He has called us to be and what we're ordained to be. We can't struggle with Him. We can't fight with Him. We have to accept His will. When He tells us to do something, we got to get up and do it. At the end of the day, we have to get up and do it. And this took so much from me. It took a lot of time away from my family. It took a lot of time away from work. I wasn't able to work the way that I, have been going for the past 15 years. But God always said, I will provide it. He's provided for me this whole entire time. And so, we have to have faith and we have to do what we're supposed to do. I'm urging every single person, if you can hear me, please go out and vote for Brandon Presley on November 7th. Please call your friends, tell your friends, go out and vote for Brandon Presley. Take 5 people to the polls with you. Tell your friends and family, if you need a ride to the poll, call me. I'll get you there. If they need a ride, you tell them to call me. I'll go pick them up. I'm going to be out all day on election day, taking people to the polls. If they need a ride, we'll get them there. Thank you so much, Joshua McLean. Please get the word out. Brandon Presley is the change that we need in Mississippi. I cannot say that enough. He's the change and I don't endorse a lot of candidates, but that's one that I'm endorsing 100%. That's one that I'm pushing 100%, because the things that are happening in Mississippi are happening for far too long. And we finally have someone that can come in and help us change our state and do things. This will send such a loud message all across the country that Mississippi is changing for the better. This is going to improve our quality of life. This is going to give so many people health care. Brandon Presley says, I'm for every single person. He didn't say I'm for one group of people. He says, I'm for every single person. That's the job of the governor. The governor is supposed to be for every single person, not just for one demographic, not for just one person with one religious belief. The governor has to be neutral and an advocate and a fighter for everybody. Wouldn't it be a beautiful day if all of our elected officials were for the people, were for everybody? Wouldn't it be? I don't have a vote, but do have a prayer for change. Thank you so much, Ms. Mary Briley. Look, please to call all your Mississippi family and friends and tell them, please go out and vote for Brandon Presley. We really, really need him as our governor, because a lot of things that we cannot get past in the House of Representatives and Senate, we can possibly get an executive order to get it done. And we can finally be on the side of right here in Mississippi. We need to, we need some change here in Mississippi. We need people in elected office that care about the people. I care about my people. I care about my people. And it radiates throughout the district, my passion that I have for my people. It's not something, you can't fake this. You can't fake passion. You cannot fake caring for people. And people know I care about them. That's what I'm always going to do. And I know that when the legislative session gets here, there are going to be times where my constituents and I are not going to agree about certain legislation. And I understand that. And I don't have a problem with that, but I'm going to be open and transparent with my constituents about it. And I'm going to always value their feedback and get their feedback as to, what we're doing. And I'm going to always vote in a way that is going to be for the betterment of our district and our state. I'm gonna make sure that everybody is represented when I'm voting on this legislation. It's not going to be voting on one side of legislation that's only benefiting one group of people, because we have to consider every single person, in this state when we're voting on legislation and things of that sort. And so I'm hoping that I was able to give you guys some informed information this evening. We'll be back again on Wednesday with our political forum, where we will have political candidates from all races. I know we've had some. We've had Attorney General candidate Greta Kemp Martin has RSVP that she will be present. I know we have a candidate from Board of Supervisor race that is confirmed. I think a Public Service Commissioner candidate has confirmed. I'm working on getting all of the confirmations out to I'm working on getting the list of all the candidates that are going to be present, and I'm also going to put the time that they're going to be speaking on the announcement as well, because I want to make sure that we get as many people involved in this as we can. We have to be informed when we vote. Another thing I tell people: if you don't vote, you can't complain. You don't vote, you can't complain when things don't go the way. When I hear people complain, I ask them, who did you vote for? Or I don't even ask, who you vote for? I said, did you vote? Well, no, I don't vote because I don't believe in the process. I stop them right there and say, well, you can't complain if you don't vote, because if you're not voting, you're keeping these people in office that you're complaining about. I'm not trying to sound harsh, but that's just a matter of fact. If you don't vote, you can't complain. How can you complain? If you're complaining, that means you're putting the burden of voting on everybody else, but you're not going to let your voice be heard. So how can you complain? You can't. If you don't vote, you don't have a voice. If you don't vote, don't go on Facebook and drag people through the mud on Facebook for not doing their job if you don't go out and vote. Facebook doesn't vote. You can go in and put all the ugly, mean, rude posts on Facebook that you want. But guess what? If you're not voting, these people are going to be able to stay in office. So stop doing that. Start voting. Start being informed. Start going to candidate forums. Start reaching out to candidates, asking them questions. We have to start holding our people in political office accountable. We have to start getting on the campaign trail with them and figuring out what their beliefs are when we're on the campaign trail. And guess what? If you elect a person, if a person has a platform and you vote for that person based upon that platform, and that person gets in office and they don't deliver on that platform, you know what you need to do? Go back to the polls and vote for somebody else the next time. Give them 4 years, and if they don't perform in 4 years, it's time for them to move out the way. I put my platform out there at the things I'm trying to get done, once elected, and I'm going to fight every single day to get these things done. But if I go there and for 4 years, I'm not able to deliver on these things, then, hey, that means I'm the person for the job. Maybe I'm not a good communicator. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad legislator. Maybe I was not able to communicate to get these things done, but that's not an excuse. So if I'm not a good communicator, if I come back and say, well, I fought for it, but I couldn't get it done. If I come back and say that, you need to give somebody else a chance, because maybe somebody else can do a better job than I did to delivering these things. We got to stop saying, I couldn't get it done. I tried to, but I couldn't get it done. If you were elected and you couldn't get it done, then move out the way, give somebody else a chance that might be able to get it done. And so, yes, Pam, after football season, we're gonna have to go out and have lunch, most definitely. All right, y'all, I'm getting off of here. I'm gonna go. I got a lot of work to do to get this political forum up and ready for Wednesday evening. I appreciate you guys. I love every single one of you. Continue being great. Continue doing what you're doing. Hey, if I could do anything for you, feel free to reach out at any given time. I definitely want to be there available for my constituents. I want to be available for the people in Mississippi. Please get out on November 7th and vote. Brandon Presley for governor for the state of Mississippi. We're going to turn this state around. Y'all have a good evening. It was a pleasure as always, just being in front of you guys.